Let's get ready to rumble! Oh, look who it is. It's RJ Ballin back at it again with the Footballin' Podcast. Oh yeah, episode 4. We're right back at it, and we got tons of news for this episode. And I'm gonna warn you right now. It's a lot of bad news for the NFL. A lot of the news right now for the NFL is not looking good, dude. It's a lot of bad stuff. So I mean, we got Deshaun Watson. We got people getting suspended all over the place. People are getting arrested. Yeah, I mean, it's rough right now, dude. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm gonna jump right into it right now. First story that we have to talk about, biggest story right now in the NFL, is definitely by far Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, getting suspended and fined $1 million for tampering. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, so let's hop in, dude. Buckle up, because this is gonna be a rough one, man. Even in 2019, so the Miami Dolphins, even in 2019, were trying to recruit Tom Brady, and that's, a lot of us has kind of heard this rumor going around with Miami, because they've contacted Tom many times to try to recruit him over to Miami to come play there. And I mean, that also means like kicking Tua out the door too, which is that's like a whole nother thing I'm not going to get into. But yeah, the whole thing with Tom, it's like they've been trying to recruit Tom for a while, for the last couple of years. And then even this last offseason, they tried to get Tom over to Miami. So they've been trying to go after him, and also been trying to go after Sean Payton, the former New Orleans coach. So Sean Payton has been retired, right? He retired this last season, and he right now he's saying he doesn't plan on coming back to the NFL, at least at this point. He might be taking a break or whatever, but like Miami is like, yo, like we need to get Sean Payton down here, and we need to get Tom Brady down here, and we're gonna win a Super Bowl. Like that was like their whole thing, right? And basically they contacted Sean Payton's agent multiple times in the last year or so. Like while Sean Payton was still coaching, they were contacting his agent to try to recruit him. And when he was retired, they did it again to try to recruit him. And both times they didn't have permission to do that. Like they did not have permission to go and try to talk to them and try to negotiate and do all that. Like they weren't allowed to do that, but they still did. And that's classic Miami style. Like classic Stephen Ross, the owner, is just like, I don't care about the rules. Like I'll bend the rules and I'll do whatever the hell I want. Like that's classic billionaire owner right there, dude. Like, man, it's like this guy is such a joke, dude. Honestly, like Stephen Ross, this dude is such a joke. I can't believe him, man. And like, so here's what happened. So he got suspended until October 17th. And that's like week 6 into the season. So like I mean, honestly, that's really not gonna do much, bro, because like the off season's already over, really. You're already in training camp. The NFL season's about to start. Like, you don't really need the owner there anymore. Like, it's not even like a big consequence for him to be suspended. He's like, okay, I guess I could just go sit at home and watch the football games. Okay, like who cares? It doesn't matter to him. And also him getting fined $1.5 million. Like, first of all, I'm even shocked that the NFL even fined him that much money, because usually the fines that we see in the NFL are like, hey man, they'll call out like a player on the field and be like, hey, your socks are not, your socks don't meet our requirements for our uniforms, so we're gonna fine you $10,000. It'll be like stupid stuff like that. And it's like, oh, come on, bro. And like they always just throw out these like little $10,000 fines, or they'll fine like a head coach for yelling and screaming at a ref on the sideline, which happens every single game basically. That happens constantly, and like, but the coaches don't care. Like, why would they care? Because it's like, oh no, I'm gonna get fined $20,000. Like, dude, these coaches are making millions of dollars. They're filthy rich. You think they care about $20,000? They could wipe their ass with $20,000. You think they care, dude? And it's the same thing with this. Even though $1.5 million, it's probably one of the biggest fines that the NFL has actually done. because they usually don't find people like over $1 million. It's usually not like that crazy, but it's understandable for the whole tampering thing because like the NFL's like, dude, you can't be like you. I mean, even though we all know that tampering happens all the time, but it just doesn't get exposed like this. Like even though all these other teams do tampering, it's just they just keep it on the DL because like they don't want nobody to find out. But we all know they do it though. Like we all know, like it happens. I mean, come on. But yeah, so he gets fined $1.5 million. It's dude, the guy's a billionaire. He's an NFL owner for a reason. It's because he has tons of money. He's a billionaire. You think he cares about $1.5 million? He's like, okay, yeah, here you go. Like he was gonna waste that on a freaking expensive car or a house or something. He doesn't care, dude. Like that's nothing to him. That's literally nothing to him. But here's like the actual punishment part. There's a second part of this punishment that actually think it does impact the team at least. Not really Stephen Ross, but it impacts the team, Miami Dolphins, because they got taken away their 2023 first round pick, and they got taken away their 2024 third round pick. And see, now that's actually a pretty decent punishment right there for the team because. Even it's rough, man. Like losing a first round pick is really bad because that first round pick that could get you a star player, that can get you a Hall of Fame player, that could get you a lot, and it's also so valuable for trading options to trade for something because who doesn't want a first round pick? It's like everybody wants the first round pick. So I mean, unless you're the Rams, if you're the Rams, you don't care, but like. Most NFL teams, they care about first round pick, and they could have traded that first round pick to get a superstar player to come help them. They could have drafted a really great player, or if Tua does not play good this year, and the Miami just goes, you know what, Tua's not our quarterback. We don't like him. We gave him everything, and he's not getting us to the playoffs or whatever the reason is, and they just don't like Tua anymore. They could have used that first round pick to go draft another quarterback if they wanted to. And be like, you know what, we're going to start fresh. Or they could have used that first round pick in a package with Tua to trade for like a Russell Wilson. Or I'm just saying, for example, like trading for one of these big superstar quarterbacks. Because that happens every offseason now. We've seen that. Like it's like every single offseason now. Either Tom Brady's going somewhere, or Russell's going somewhere, or Aaron Rodgers, or he might be leaving, or there's always something now where like these big quarterbacks are moving. So you never know, dude. I mean, they could have used that in a package with Tua to get a better quarterback, or like that first round pick is very valuable. And also the third round pick next year, it doesn't seem like that much, but third round picks are huge, man. Like third round picks really do mean a lot because you get a lot of your franchise players arguably in the second and third round. Like those are your guys that fill out your depth chart, or they become starters and they become longtime players for you. And like you can pay them a really good contract for like 5 years or maybe like 4 years. But really like that third round pick does mean a lot too. Like that punishment actually is somewhat of a pretty good cut punishment, but the whole thing about suspending and fining the owner, like, dude, come on, man. Like, that doesn't matter. That's not going to do anything. And also, okay, here's another thing about this whole story. During this whole investigation that the NFL put on trying to find out if they're tampering or whatever, the NFL investigation also said that Stephen Ross was not tanking because that was the whole drama in the previous year where it was like, are you... Like there was this whole controversy that he was tanking and like purposely trying to lose so then he can draft Tua, right? That was the whole plan. Oh, that was like from like 2 years ago, right? So the NFL investigator said he was not tanking, but Stephen Ross said that he did prioritize his draft position instead of the win-loss record. That sounds really familiar to something. What does that sound like? It sounds like tampering, dude. It sounds like, or not tampering. What am I talking about here? Talking about tanking. I don't know why I said tampering again. I'm all over the place, dude. That sounds like tanking to me, dude. If you're prioritizing draft position instead of winning games, you're trying to lose games so then you can you can get the highest pick in the draft. That's really what that means. So it's like for the NFL to say that, to be like, well, they're not tanking, but they're also trying to prioritize draft position. Like, okay, man. Like, basically, what happens is like the NFL doesn't have like hard hitting physical evidence that they were tanking. So they just kind of have to say like, well, Stephen Ross did kind of say that. It's like they kind of have to like make some workaround to really explain it. But like like, come on, dude. Like, I guess they just can't really come out and like punish him because there's just no hard hitting evidence. Like, there's no written document, there's no like video evidence or audio, or there's not something that like exposes him in that way. And the only thing that kind of exposes him is Brian Flores, because Brian Flores has been saying this when he was coaching the Miami Dolphins. He said that Stephen Ross was behind the scenes, like telling him, "I'll pay you $100,000 every game that you lose." That was like the whole thing. And then Brian Flores refused to take that offer and said, "No, like I'm not gonna tank my own career because you want to tank to get Tua. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, it's like I'm not gonna purposely lose games. Then that's gonna hurt me. And Brian Flores did win a bunch of games. They won like 10, 11 games that year, and like surprisingly, with all the dysfunction, he still won a bunch of games, and that just also shows how great of a coach he is. But yeah, dude, like they don't. It's just a problem because they don't have the hard evidence. Like, even though Brian Flores says this about Stephen Ross, it's not like Brian Flores has like an audio recording of Stephen Ross saying this to him in a private conversation or a video evidence or something. Like, there's no hard evidence to really condemn Stephen Ross of doing this. So like that, like it's just very slippery from the Miami organization. Very slippery. Like they're obviously like bending the rules and breaking the rules, honestly, and they're doing messed up stuff behind the scenes. And like they're, unfortunately, this is kind of like the biggest punishment that the Miami Dolphins are going to get, is taking away the draft picks, finding the owner, suspending him. But he'll be back in no time, and it won't really matter. So it's like that's kind of like all we're gonna get from this punishment, and it's like that's disappointing because like for me, for what Stephen Ross did to Brian Flores, that bothers me a lot, and I wish that he could be exposed for that. I wish that he would actually get exposed and really get punished for that, because like if you're doing that, you shouldn't be an owner in this league. You shouldn't be able to own an NFL football team if you're telling your head coach to lose games, because you're going against the whole NFL philosophy and the whole point of the game. It's like you I don't know, that it just frustrates me so much. I just wish that he would get punished for it, but I don't know, man. There's just no evidence. The evidence isn't there, so he's gonna get away with it. And of course, these billionaire owners, they get away with everything. So it's nothing new. It's nothing new in the NFL. This is how it always happens. Here's another big depressing story from the NFL. Sorry for all the depressing bad stories, but this is kind of the state of the NFL right now. It's a lot of bad stuff going on. So I'm here talking about it. Deshaun Watson was suspended for 6 games. 6 games. For this next season, because of his allegations and his whole situation with the sexual harassment and all that stuff, all these cases that he had. I mean, this guy literally has like 30 cases open right now for like sexual harassment with massage therapists, and he gets suspended for 6 games, and it's like, yo, like this is very suspect. But okay, let's really get into it though. So here's really what happened. Allegedly in Deshaun Watson's court case for this, to get this 6-game hearing, or to get this 6-game suspension, I mean, in the court hearing, the NFL representatives wanted him to be suspended for the entire season and indefinitely, so like possibly more than that. But at the least, the NFL representatives wanted him to be gone the whole season. Like, you can't play at all. And, like, I would have been totally cool with that. That's, like, dude, I mean, for what's going on with him right now, with Deshaun Watson, you should keep him away from the NFL because it's just a bad look right now. And it's a bad look for him to come back in 6 games. Like, that's a bad look. So, but the NFLPA, the Player Association, so the NFLPA is they stand up for the players in the NFL. So they're the ones that are going against the representatives, and they're saying, we don't want him to be suspended for any games at all. Like, he shouldn't be suspended, because I guess they're arguing that it's like a off-field issue and has nothing to do with the on-field stuff, which is like, I mean, but like, it's such a serious issue that like you can't just let this guy walk back into the NFL. Like, you can't just let him walk back in. I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, 0 games? That's ridiculous. So basically, the PA wanted 0 games. The NFL wanted 17 games or more. So the compromise for both of them was, all right, he's suspended for 6 games, and that's what they came up to. That's the verdict, is 6 game suspension, and then he's back week 7 and he's playing and he's starting for the Browns, right? Now here's the funny thing, dude. So he gets suspended for 6 games, which is very light suspension for what he's getting. And now I want to, because I saw this on the internet and I was like, damn, this really hits home how ridiculous this is. So I'm gonna list off some other suspensions that have happened in the NFL, and you tell me what you think. You tell me if it sounds okay, right? So Vontaze Burfict, I mean, this is a while ago because Vontaze Burfict is like an old player, but he was suspended for 12 games for targeting, which is like fair because targeting is really messed up and shouldn't, that I agree with that. But so he got suspended for 12 games. That's twice the amount that Deshaun Watson got suspended for targeting in a game, which is like you're trying to injure the person in the game. Like, you're like aiming for the head and you're targeting their head. Like, that's what that means if you don't know. DeAndre Hopkins, Arizona Cardinals wide receiver, my guy. That's my guy. He got suspended for 6 games, the same amount as Deshaun Watson, for having like a 0.001% of a PED trace in his system when he got drug tested, and then like the tiniest little trace of PED in his system, which he claims that it was a complete mistake and he had no awareness of, because he was just trying to recover from an injury, and like he ended up taking supplements that weren't related to PEDs but happened to have a trace in it somehow that he didn't realize. That's what DeAndre Hopkins claims. I don't know if that's true. I would love to believe him, but I don't know. But it's the smallest hint of a trace of PEDs, 6 game suspension. Deshaun Watson, 6 game suspension. Like, for 30 allegations of sexual assault. Like, come on, dude. Calvin Ridley, Falcons wide receiver. He got suspended for 17 games, which is a full season now. 17 games for betting on his own team during the season. So last year, he was doing sports bets on the side, and he was betting on the Falcons. So, and, he got found out, and basically once he got found out, the NFL came down hard at him and was like, yo, okay, you're gone for the whole season. You're not playing a single game. And it's like, okay, he gets suspended 17 games for doing sports bets, but Deshaun Watson gets suspended 6 games. Like you see where I'm going with this, right? Here's another one that's a great example. Josh Gordon, a wide receiver that struggled a lot to stay in the league because he's always getting suspended or drug tested. He's struggled so much to stay in the league over his career, and he got suspended 25 games for having weed in his system. And of course, this is years ago. I mean, this is like 4 or 5 years ago, before the weed laws got changed and the NFL got more lenient on weed. They got way more lenient on it because of the advancements and what's been going on in society with weed now, with how acceptable it is now. But before, it wasn't as acceptable, and the NFL would come down really hard on you for weed. and he got suspended 25 games. 25 games, like multiple seasons worth, where he cannot play an NFL game because of weed in his system, because he smokes weed. And when you think of that and you compare that to Deshaun Watson for 6-game suspension, you're like, dude, what is going on? What is going on here? All these other players are getting these harsh suspensions, and Deshaun Watson is doing way worse things off the field, but he's getting a light punishment, like a very light punishment. It's like, dude, like you can see it with the examples that I give how unfair it is, how completely unfair it is that Deshaun Watson only gets a 6-game suspension compared to all these other guys that did way less stuff, and the severity is way less, but they got a way more severe punishment, which is not fair at all. So here's what's happening now. The NFL appealed the 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson because, of course, everyone freaked out about this and was like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense. Like, this is unfair. This is like complete bull. Like, so now the NFL appeals that suspension, and they're going to have another court hearing, and they're going to have to determine again how much they're going to punish him. And, you know, I mean, from what it seems like, they're going to increase the punishment, because why else would you appeal it and then have another court hearing to determine how long it's going to be? Like, the only reason is because they saw all the backlash, they see what's going on, and they realize it's not good enough. So I'm thinking like he's probably going to get suspended like 12 games or more. Like, that's probably where I could see it going on. Like, I'm sure they're going to either double it, or they're just going to be like, you're gone for the whole season, get out of here. So I think at best he'll be suspended for 12 games. And that's like the lightest I think they'll go now, because I don't think they're going to pull any punches on this next one that they give him another suspension. So that's the whole thing going on with Deshaun Watson right now. It's a lot. It's like, dude, it's just a lot of bad stuff going on in the NFL right now. It is rough. It's such a rough time, dude. And speaking of more rough times, now we have more players and coaches being arrested. So that's a thing now. And it's kind of always been a thing in the NFL, because these things come up and they happen, right? Like, we've seen plenty of sexual assault cases and domestic battery cases, and like we've seen these players act out and they do crazy stuff, or so this one's not one of those cases, but it's still worth talking about to me, especially because as a Cardinals fan, it's a Cardinals player, and I need to talk about this. Marquis Brown gets arrested for reckless driving. And it's like this is also a common thing with usually the younger NFL players. This is a common thing. Because, when you give a young player that didn't grow up with money, they grew up poor, and then you give them millions of dollars, and they're a young player, even though he's 25, which is like, yeah, he's very young, but also should be a little bit more mature than like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old getting millions of dollars. Like, he allegedly wasn't doing this before, but now he got caught doing it at 25. It's still bad, and he's still a young player. Like, you have to give him that, but also we've seen this before, and it's not good, dude. So here's what happened. Marquis Brown, he was arrested for speeding, and he was going 126 miles an hour. 126 miles an hour. I'm repeating that because it's very severe, dude. Like, this isn't just like a normal speeding ticket of like, oh, he's going 15 miles over, and oh, here's their ticket, have a good day. You're gonna have to pay that, or $400 ticket. Like, no. This is like the normal thing. If you're speeding this much over the speed limit, you're going to jail for at least 30 days, and you're gonna be on like a year of probation, and you're gonna have like a fine of like $500 or whatever it is, $1,000, whatever. Like, it's very serious. It's very serious, and also not only just because of the punishment that you would get from this, but driving 126 miles an hour. Look, dude, I get it. Like, a lot of these car guys, like, I'm not a car guy, right? Like, so like I don't really understand it, because I don't care about dude, I want to go so fast, bro. I want to speed down the freeway, bro. Dude, am I like, I don't know. I just don't understand the car guy thing, and like, it's just not who I am. So like, these guys that, you give them millions of dollars and they love cars and they want to buy some crazy expensive car that goes super fast, and they go, yo, let's take it out, let's take the whip out, and go race around town and whatever. Like, if that's your prerogative, like, you got to go do it in a safe location. Don't do it on the freeway. Like, Marquis Brown was like arrested doing this on the 101 freeway. It's like, dude, you're on a freeway doing 126 miles an hour. What are you doing right now? Like, with traffic, with people, like, what are you doing? It's like, bro, I don't think, like, of course it's because, young players usually end up doing this, and like, they're not thinking about how insane that is, because look at Henry Ruggs, right? Henry Ruggs, he was an Alabama receiver, got drafted to Oakland, well, now Las Vegas, not Los Angeles, the Raiders, right? He was a very young guy, like 22, I think, 22, 23. He was doing a very similar thing, and he ended up accidentally killing somebody in a car accident, and it's like, and now he's in prison and he's thrown his whole life away, and like, dude, that could happen to anybody, bro. Like, it's not just Henry Ruggs, that could happen to any of these guys. Like, Marquis Brown doesn't realize that if he's going 126 miles an hour and he loses control, or if a car stops in front of him or whatever, either he might be killing himself, he might be killing someone in the car with him, he might be killing the person he hits. There's so much that could happen, bro. Like, like, he just doesn't understand that you're putting so many lives at risk, and your own life at risk. You're putting your own life at risk for driving this fast. And it's like, dude, it's very serious. This is like, I understand, like, I've already seen in the NFL media, and not a lot of media are really talking about this story, because it's like, okay, yeah, he was speeding or whatever. Dude, see, this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it's very serious to me. Like, this is like, because I've seen this, like, I've seen it with Lamar Jackson too. Lamar Jackson's a great example, because when he got drafted, I think it was his rookie year or the year after, he posted on Instagram him driving in his car, and you can see the speed he's going. He's going like over 100 miles an hour. He's on the freeway. And it's like, but it's like, dude, like, for you to even not even have the awareness, and you just post that on the internet, and you're just like, I didn't realize that I posted the speed and I was going crazy mile an hour. Dude, like, it's like, bro, Lamar, like, you're a franchise quarterback. You're the face of an NFL franchise, $1 billion business. Like, dude, you don't, like, this is not the example. Like, I understand, like, he came from a bad place. He didn't grow up with money. He grew up with a certain lifestyle, and then he gets all these millions of dollars and all this fame and stardom. And he, like, he's a young guy, and he doesn't realize, really, he doesn't have the full awareness of what he's doing and the full scope of how dangerous what he's doing is. Because it's extremely dangerous, dude. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm a square, but it's like, dude, going 126 miles an hour, you might kill somebody or yourself. And that's like, dude, like, how can you take that risk? Why would you take that risk of ending your own life or ruining your life by getting in a car accident and killing somebody or yourself, dude? Like, that's, like, I don't understand it, but it's also just because, these guys are young players. They get given a lot of money, and they do crazy stuff, and they're going to do things without thinking them through. And that's just what happens, bro. And like, this is the same thing with Marquis Brown. And we've seen this with other players in the NFL. Like, this happens every couple of years. We see guys that they get pulled over and they get arrested for speeding too much, and they're going some insane crazy speed. And it's like, dude, it just scares me. It scares me because I don't want anything bad to happen to these guys. And like, especially because they have a bright future ahead of them. A lot of these guys, like Lamar and Marquis Brown and like all these guys, they have bright futures in front of them, and they can do so much in their life, and they have this great opportunity to excel in life, and they're giving such a good opportunity, and they're going to throw everything away because they want to They want to drive around fast in their cool car. Like, dude, it's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it to do that. Like, you're risking everything. You're risking your entire life, and you're risking other people's lives doing stupid stuff like that. Like, completely stupid stuff. And dude, it pisses me off. It really pisses me off. I do not like it. So also Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach of the Cardinals, he said that Marquis Brown was traveling from his residence to the stadium for practice, and it was about 7 a.m. in the morning. So basically, I mean that's even weirder, because it's not even like he was like out just racing around with his friends or trying to do some car guy stuff or whatever. He was like apparently he was just late for practice. Apparently it was just like, oh, I'm running late, and like I need to get there. And it's like, okay, dude, like, I'm not saying you can't be running late, and I'm not saying like, oh, you can't speed to work to try to get to work on time. Dude, I get it, bro. Like, I'm not gonna act like I'm never late to work. I'm late to work all the time. Dude, ask my manager, ask my boss, they know. I'm late to work all the freaking time, dude. And like, am I speeding on the freeway? Yeah, I am speeding on the freeway. Like, you know what, dude? I do speed to work because like I want to get there. I want to get there on time, and I don't want to be too late. And like, it happens. I end up being late to work, and you know, I'm going like 75, 80 in the freeway, and I'm trying to get to work. And like, I mean, dude, like at least to me, what I see, I feel like that's more manageable speed. I feel like I still have control of my vehicle, and it's still manageable speed. But should I be doing that? No. Like, I'm gonna be real. I shouldn't be doing that. Like, should I be like trying to speed and trying to, oh, I'm gonna get around this guy, and I'm like trying to like drive recklessly to get to work on time? I shouldn't be doing that. Like, I'm calling myself out right now, bro, because like, dude, I'm late to work all the freaking time, and I'm always speeding on the freeway. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. I've learned my lesson, because I've done it in the past where I've gone 90 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour. I've gotten up to the dangerous speeds where like something really, really bad could happen. And like, I've gotten tickets for that too. I've gotten tickets for going like 92 miles an hour. And like, and I was like, damn, bro, like, I just had a heavy foot, and I wasn't thinking. I didn't have the awareness because I was a younger kid. I didn't realize and have the awareness of like how much danger I'm putting myself in, how much danger I'm putting other people in. I shouldn't be doing that. And like, that's not okay. And like, I deserve to get that speeding ticket. I did. I deserve to get that speeding ticket. I shouldn't have been driving that fast. That's messed up, dude. Because I'm not thinking. I'm clearly not thinking when I'm doing that. So I'm even calling myself out for this. But like, I definitely have never gone 126 miles an hour though. That just seems like absurd. That just seems so excessive and so crazy. I would never go that fast on the freeway. Never enter in any situation. Like, but you know, I'm just saying, I'm not innocent. I'm not innocent. Like, I speed pretty frequently, but like, I also try to, you know, like I need to leave earlier, so then I don't do that. And like, the same thing with Marquis Brown. Apparently he's late for practice, and he's speeding. He's going 126 miles an hour to try to get the practice. And it's like, hey man, like, you know what, dude? Like, to be real, you need to be responsible, and you need to not leave that late. Like, that's really the fact of the matter. Like, you can't be leaving late, so then you're putting people in danger, and that's really what it is. That's really all it comes down to. So it's crazy. And right now, like this is just another example of how not corrupt, but how dysfunctional the Arizona Cardinals organization is. I kind of talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but like, dude, it's gotten worse. It's gotten so much worse from last week to this week. Like, dude, Marquis Brown gets arrested. DeAndre Hopkins gets suspended for PEDs in the system. Kyler and Michael Bidwell, the owner, have had all this contract drama and all this stupid stuff going on the last week. And there's also a news story too of running back coach for the Cardinals, James Saxton. He gets placed on an administrative leave with 2 counts of domestic battery that happened back in May. Like, dude, what? Like, what is going on here? What the hell is going on in this freaking organization of the Cardinals right now, dude? Like it's a complete mess. People are getting arrested. People are getting domestic battery charges. They're getting suspended for performance enhancing drugs. Like dude, it's bad right now. Like as a Cardinals fan, dude, as a Cardinals fan, I've seen this organization get really dysfunctional and really bad many, many times. I mean, ever since I've been watching the Cardinals, they've been dysfunctional and bad. But it's it's getting badder. Like it's just the bad things are stacking up in the last couple weeks, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And especially with this domestic battery, like 2 counts of domestic battery from our running backs coach. And it's like, dude, what the hell is going on in this organization? It's insane, bro. Like this is not acceptable, dude. Bro, who's I don't know, dude. I was gonna say who's running this organization, but I know who's running this organization. It's Michael Bidwell, and Michael Bidwell, he's kind of a freaking idiot. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Like right now, it's looking real bad, and he's looking like a complete idiot right now, dude. Like the Cardinals need to clean their shit up, man, because it's getting really bad. Like there's too many bad stories going on right now with the Cardinals, and it's not acceptable. Like we need to clean this up, bro. Like this is not right. So here's another thing that I wanted to touch on, because Aaron Rodgers got criticized for claiming that ayahuasca, the drug, got him the NFL MVP, and it made him play his best football. And of course, him talking about taking drugs, the NFL is gonna go crazy. The media is gonna take it and run with it. It's so bad. Like I'm not saying it's actually bad. I'm just saying it's the criticism he's getting right now is really bad. Because in my point of view, I see it a little differently, but I can see both sides. Let me explain to you what I mean by both sides. So I'm gonna give you both parts of the equation. And this part's a little bit personal, so I'm not gonna get too into details about. Oh God, I'm sorry. I just had a big burp come out of nowhere. Oh God, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, weird timing for that. So this part's a little bit personal, and I'm not gonna get into a bunch of details about this because it's private, and I'm not gonna put it all out there on the internet. So I'm gonna keep it light with this. But I have an older brother, or my oldest brother, I should say, and I've seen him my whole life struggle with hard drugs, right? And I'm not gonna go into it more than that because there's a lot of details that I'm leaving out, and I'm not gonna go into that. But and for his privacy and for the family's privacy, I'm not gonna delve in. But I'm just saying, I've seen him struggle with hard drugs. It's been a struggle, and hard drugs like heroin and meth and cocaine and these very hard drugs, they can destroy your life. They can absolutely tear your life down. They can ruin all the relationships you have, break everything away from your family. It will ruin your life doing these hard drugs. It is not a joke, dude. It's absolutely not a joke, and it's very serious. Especially if you're not responsible. But even it being responsible, it's still not a good idea. And I do not encourage anybody to even try hard drugs at all. I do not encourage anyone to do it. Trust me, dude, it is not the path you want to go down your life, dude. It is not the path you want, bro. I'm telling you right now, dude. I do not encourage anybody at all to try don't even try it, bro. Honestly, don't even try it. With some of these drugs, you don't even want to touch it, bro. It's gonna mess you up, bro. I'm being dead serious. And it's take me for example too. Dude, I don't do hard drugs. Of course I have a example I talked about that I've learned from that example, and I've applied that to my life. I've seen the effects that it has on somebody, and I'm not going to put those effects on me. So I've learned in that way to not do that. But do I smoke weed? Yeah, I do. I'm actually a pretty big stoner. I'm gonna be real, but to me, if if you can handle like weed is not considered a hard drug, at least to me. But I would say most people would consider weed's not a very hard drug. It's more like the entry level, and it's like, and also, I mean, you can get highly addicted to weed. I was highly addicted to weed, bro. Like when I was younger, I could not. I was going through a rough time, and like weed was there, and I was smoking constantly. I couldn't stop smoking. It definitely, weed can definitely have a negative effect on your life. That's for sure. Because if it gets out of control and it gets out of hand, and you can't control yourself, and you're going through some shit, and like it's gonna, like it could take over your life too. Like I'm not saying that weed isn't damaging, because it could be, but I have a much healthier relationship with weed now, and like it's like I'm a lot better off with it. So it's like I'm like I still choose to smoke, even though I know it's bad for my lungs. Even though I know smoke should not be in your lungs, not good. It like any kind of smoke should not be in your lungs. So I understand it's bad for my health. Do I do it still? Yeah. And like like I still do. And also, have I taken mushrooms before? Yeah, I have. I have taken mushrooms before. Like of course I haven't gone crazy. Like I've microdosed mushrooms. Like I've taken just very, very small doses. Like I haven't been like tripping balls in a forest going crazy. Like I haven't gone to that yet. I mean, I don't know if I ever will, honestly, because it's kind of scary, bro. But like I've microdosed them, and like I've taken small amounts because I wanted to be safe. I wanted to be very safe with what I'm doing. So it's like basically I'm saying, you can choose to do what you want to do with your life. And if you want to smoke weed and you want to try mushrooms and you want to experiment with things, then go ahead. If you want to go to the bar and have some drinks with your friends, go ahead. Like enjoy your life. Enjoy your life and like do what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, then go ahead. But I am warning you, for anyone that thinks about it, do not if you want to experiment with other things. Don't experiment with heroin, cocaine, meth, like these really hard chemical drugs. You do not want to mess with those, dude. Just don't even try them. Just don't even look at them. Don't touch them. Don't even think about it, dude. That's my opinion. But also, you're gonna make your own choices. Do whatever you want with your life. If that's your choice and you want to go down that road, then go ahead. But just know you've been warned. Just know you've been warned. And like, but here's all. I mean, okay. So that's one side of it, right? I told you I'm gonna give you both sides of the argument. That's one side of the argument. Is like, don't even try them. Don't attempt it. It's like, don't mess with it. I'm going to give you the other side of the argument now. Like, I understand with psychedelics have come a long way, and they've been around forever, of course. Like, people have been using them forever, but it's just, they've come a long way in the therapeutic world. So there's a lot more psychedelic therapy that's been going on lately, and a lot more experiments and a lot more therapeutic practices that have been going on with a lot of psychedelics, and including the ayahuasca. That's another one that's included in that too, because I've heard a lot about that. I've heard a lot about the healing properties of these psychedelics, and basically, if you're going to do them, if you're going to try this and you're going to do it for a therapeutic reason, which is what Aaron Rodgers claims too. Aaron Rodgers talked about how the ayahuasca massively helped him mentally as a person, and mentally on playing football on the field. Like, he said that's why he's giving the credit to ayahuasca for helping him like take back his life, and also like play the best football he's ever played, and win back-to-back MVPs, because he claims that it's helped him so much mentally in a therapeutic way. And I'm so happy for him, bro. If that's completely true, which I believe it is, because he said it, I mean, I'll take his word that if that's how he feels, that it helped him that much, I'm all for it, dude. I'm happy. Like, whatever helps you heal, and it's therapeutic and it's good for you, and you don't believe it's damaging and it's helping you, then I'm all for it, dude. Go right ahead. And I hope it does. I hope it does, bro. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps you mentally. And like, yeah, like I do believe that there's a possibility that that's a real thing. I do, like, I've seen some stuff on that where you have to be in a controlled environment, though. That's the thing. Controlled environment. You have to be very safe with what you're doing, and you need somebody there to guide you through this that knows what they're doing, and they know what the right doses to give you, and they're not going to go overboard. They're not going to be reckless. Like, you need to be in the right environment to if you're going to try some of these therapeutic psychedelics. Like, if so that's the other side of the argument. It's like, okay, like I do understand there is healing properties, there is benefits to doing these psychedelics in a controlled environment, like with a therapist or like with a person that like a guide that is very, very knowledgeable, like on the subject. Like, you need the right people and the right environment around you, and you need to you just got to be safe. If you're gonna do it, you need to be safe about it. So that's the other part of the argument. It's like, dude, if it does help you mentally, go all ahead. I'm all for it, dude. I want everybody to be healthier mentally. I want that for everybody. And if there's a solution like psychedelics that can help more people in a therapeutic way to get to where they want to be mentally, then I'm all for it, and I think it's great. I think that's great. That's awesome. Just know you need to be doing it under the right circumstances. You need to have the right people around you, and just be safe. Just be safe. And I believe that with Aaron Rodgers. I believe that he did it in a safe way. I don't know for sure, but I believe he did it in a safe way, and he claims that it helped him so much. So that's great. Like, I'm happy for him. And I'm not going to criticize Aaron Rodgers for taking drugs like he's some kind of like hobo or some kind of freaking druggie on the street, or, like, come on, dude. Like, I think Colin Cowherd actually talked about it on his show. I heard something from him, like, calling it like, I don't know, of course he loves to criticize Aaron Rodgers, but like he's talking about like him, oh well, the only people who do these drugs are deadbeats and nobodies, and oh, you need a strong woman in your life if you're gonna do drugs or whatever, dude. I was like, okay, bro, just like, honestly, Colin Cowherd, like, shut the hell up, dude. Literally shut the hell up. Like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. He was trying to explain it as himself. He's like, well, I know what that's like. I've drinking rum and coke, and I had the worst hangover ever. And I was like, dude, that's not the same though, dude. Like drinking rum and coke and doing ayahuasca, completely different things. That's not the same. Like, don't try to compare that, bro. Just, okay, dude. Well, whatever. Like, Colin Cowherd, like, hey, I respect him. Like, he's a big figure in NFL media. Like, I respect him. He has good takes sometimes, but he also has bad takes, and I feel like that was one of his bad takes. That was a bad one. I do not like that one. And it's really just he wants any chance to jump on, to jump all over Aaron Rodgers, because he doesn't like Aaron Rodgers, clearly. And he knows that if he says that, it's going to get big views on his show, and people are going to listen, and they're going to talk about it like how I'm talking about it. So he's smart. I'll give it to him, dude. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He knows. But anyway, let's move on. Deebo Samuel signs a massive 3-year, $73.5 million contract with the 49ers. So this contract includes $41 million guaranteed at signing, but by April 1st of 2023, it'll turn into $58.1 million guaranteed. And this is basically the deal. This is basically the deal that DK Metcalf got, but he just said, just give me a little bit more than DK Metcalf. As everybody has seen, we've seen a trend with this happening, with these wide receiver contracts, and I'm going to get into that too. But right before I get into that, I want to talk about something real quick with Deebo Samuel. So if anyone has forgotten, like 3 or 4 months ago, I think it was in April. Yeah, in April, Deebo Samuel asked the Niners for a trade. He said, like, hey, you know what? I'm not happy here. Like, please trade me. Please trade me. Get me out of here. Ship me somewhere else. I don't want to be with the Niners anymore. That was in April when he said that, right? And everybody freaked out. And Kyle Shanahan, I know Kyle Shanahan freaked out because he loves Deebo Samuel. And he's like, oh my God, dude. This guy wants out. Like, he's not going to sign a contract. Like, he was freaking out. Everybody's freaking out because they didn't want Deebo to leave. And Deebo claimed, like, because because everyone thought it was a money issue. So everyone's like, oh, it's a money issue, and like we need it. Like he's trying to ask for big money. Debo Samuel himself claimed that it's not a money issue. He said that he was uncomfortable with how he was being used in Kyle Shanahan's offense. That was the quote from him, saying like, yeah, like it's not really a money thing. I'm not comfortable with what's going on, and I don't like how I'm being used, and basically that comes down to they're paying him very little, and then they're overusing him. At least from what it seems like, it's like they because they used him as a wide receiver, as their main number one target wide receiver, and they used him as a running back, which is like kind of this weird wide back position that they talk about. So he's kind of like hybrid player, and of course when you're playing running back in the NFL, first of all, you don't get paid much money. You're gonna get like a very low contract. But also playing running back, the more important thing is that you're gonna get injured a lot more. Most likely, you're gonna get injured a lot more if you're not lucky. God, I'm burping so much. Like there's so much. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to hold it in so I'm not burping right into the mic. But Jesus, it's coming up a lot. Okay. Anyways, moving past that. With Debo, so when you're also playing running back and wide receiver, you're putting a lot of wear and tear on your body, because when you play running back, you're going to get hit. Like, unless you take it all the way for a touchdown and you don't get touched, which doesn't happen every play. So most plays you're getting hit. Most plays you're taking damage to your body. And like that can shorten your career. Like taking all those hits will shorten your career. And that's why usually players want to play wide receiver, because I could play for 15 years and I don't have to worry about like getting like hit constantly, and that's really what it is. So clearly Debo was kind of uncomfortable being like I'm not really getting paid that much, and I'm putting my body at risk and my career at risk, and it's like, and I think here's really what's going on, because this happened months ago. So Debo Samuel, and this was before all these other wide receivers got their big deals. So Debo waited it out. And of course, I'm pretty sure that the Niners organization, the owner, Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure they've had plenty of talks with Debo behind the scenes, like assuring him that they're going to pay him good and they're going to do whatever they can to make him happy, because that they want to keep him in not Arizona, in San Fran. They want to keep him there, and they're going to do what they can to make him happy. So that's like I'm sure they've been having those conversations behind the scenes, right? So, because all that trade talk kind of went away. It kind of got silenced for months. So I was like, okay, they must be working it out behind the scenes. They must be negotiating, right? And during all this negotiation, of course, all these wide receivers get paid. Devontae Adams, $30 million a year, and Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year, and then we have Terry McLaurin with a 3-year deal, and we got DK Metcalf with the 3-year deal, and they're getting big guaranteed money up front. They're getting big money contracts with less years, and you're seeing that happening. So all these wide receivers get their deals, and they're getting paid out. So Debo just being like, okay, I just got to wait a little bit longer. Like Debo's just like, I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to wait a little longer. I'm going to wait for these guys to get their big money. And then I'm going to come to the table and go, okay, the biggest contract out there right now, like the biggest, no, well, it's not the biggest contract there, because Devontae and Tyreek have the big ones. But DK and Terry McLaurin, clearly Debo wanted a contract like that, because that's really what he got. He didn't want like the big 5-year and like big money thing. He was like, let me give me the 3-year. It's going to be big money, but I want it mostly guaranteed. So that's kind of the route that he wanted to go. So he saw Terry and DK do that same thing, and he said, okay, now that's a deal that I want, because you're going to get that deal for 3 years. He can either get out of the contract within a year or two, or he can wait the 3 years and then hit the market again and get another 3-year contract for tons of guaranteed money and get big money again. So that's what it seemed like what happened. Like they negotiated with him, and then Debo said, you know what, if I'm gonna stay in San Fran, if I'm not gonna get traded and I'm staying here, then I'm waiting for these other wide receivers to do all their contracts and get paid. And then I'm going to pick the contract that I like the most. And then I'm just gonna ask for a little bit more money than them, but give me the same contract basically. So that's really what happened with Debo. So it is kind of crazy that he went from demanding a trade to get out of San Fran to signing a 3-year extension for a lot of money. So it's surprising because I really thought Debo was going to be on the move. I was like, oh, Green Bay is going to get Debo, or any one of these other teams, like, oh, they're going to get Debo now. Oh my God, but he stayed in San Fran, and as a Cardinals fan, I'm disappointed because I wanted him to leave the division. I was like, yo, please leave this division. Go anywhere else. I don't care where you go, dude. Go with Tom Brady if you want, dude. I don't care. Just don't be in the Cardinals division anymore because he gives me nightmares. Deebo Samuel gives me nightmares, and I'm not happy about it. But hey, you know what? I am happy that he's getting paid money because he's getting these big contracts because he deserves it, dude. He deserves the contract, even though it's 1 year of big production from him. So, of course, you want to see a little bit more. But, he's a young player, and he has a lot of promise, and we've seen good potential from him. So, he deserves a contract, and I'm glad he's getting paid what he rightfully deserves. So, that's that on Debo. And, that's all my stories right there. That's all I had today. A lot of depressing news, a lot of bad news for the NFL. That's a little more depressing episode, I guess, but also I figured I would end it with something that's actually good, like Debo getting paid. So I was like, you know what, I'll end it with something nice because I don't want the whole episode to be depressing and bad. So I threw that in there too. I threw that right at the end. So there you go. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow a channel here, so we're on episode 4. I'm keeping it going, so I hope that you guys stick around too and see me on episode 5 next week. Probably on Monday because I'm gonna try to upload this on Monday. So check out next Monday for another episode 5. We're gonna go over everything. There's gonna be actual NFL games to talk about preseason, but NFL games to talk about. There's gonna be a lot more news going on, a lot more things, and I'm gonna try to bring something fun to the podcast. So. I hope you tune in, like the video, subscribe, share it with your buddies, do whatever you want to do, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye-bye.